Tell me, Rabbi, why do you oppose the state of Israel, first of all, and why do you support Palestinians?
Okay, first I pray to the Almighty that He bestow upon me His truth, His wisdom, that I may be worthy of conveying His message and so sanctify His name.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Perang Palestina dan Israel sudah dimulai sejak tahun 1948 hingga sekarang. Perang yang terjadi begitu lama, tentu ada pihak-pihak yang mendukung kemerdekaan Palestina dan ada yang mendukung kemerdekaan Israel. Seperti kita sebagai seorang Muslim, kita mendukung kemerdekaan Palestina. Sedangkan agama-agama yang lain, di antara mereka ada yang mendukung Palestina untuk merdeka dan ada juga yang mendukung Israel untuk merdeka. Tapi, gimana dengan orang-orang Yahudi? Mereka berpihak kepada siapa? Berikut ini adalah video yang menunjukkan pengakuan seorang rahib Yahudi yang mengatakan mereka orang-orang Yahudi mendukung Palestina dan apakah alasan yang membuat mereka mendukung Palestina.
Supports Palestinians, and I'm going to ask him why that's so. Rabbi, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Thank you, and it's an honor, a privilege to be on your program.
No, it's wonderful to talk to you. So tell me, Rabbi, why do you oppose the state of Israel, first of all, and why do you support Palestinians?
Okay, first I pray to the Almighty that He bestow upon me His truth, His wisdom, that I may be worthy of conveying His message and so sanctify His name. It's not my personal opinion. What I'm representing, with God's help, is the opinion of the very religious Jews around the world, including in Al-Quds in Jerusalem, including throughout Europe and throughout the world, basically. We, as a Jewish people, have made a covenant with God 3,000 years ago on Mount Sinai. Moses went up and took the Torah from God, and we made a covenant to uphold the Torah. That is what Judaism is all about, to uphold this covenant, to be close to the Almighty, to be subservient to the Almighty. This movement, the concept of creating a state sovereignty, and what they want to call a Jewish sovereignty, that concept, is a movement that started around 150 years ago. It is a transformation from subservience to God into nationalism. Have a piece of land, to be a nation amongst nations, to be comparable to all the great countries. Now, that in and of itself, even if it would have not affected the Palestinian people, the inhabitants, the indigenous people, in other words, if the land would have been uninhabited, it would still be forbidden for the Jewish people to have this concept of sovereignty, of a nationalism, because we have a long history. We made the covenant with God 3,000 years ago to uphold the Torah, and we were then commanded to go into the Holy Land and build a temple, which King Solomon built a temple. But we were warned by the Almighty and instructed by the Almighty that we have to be on a very high level of spirituality. If not, then we will be driven from the land. And that came around 2,000 years ago. The Romans and the Greeks, they came, they invaded the Holy Land, and the Jews were driven from the land as a nation. Once that happened, we were put under a decree of exile. And so for 2,000 years, we're under a decree of exile by the Almighty, meaning that we are told by the Almighty that it is His will that we should not be this sovereign nation. We should be loyal citizens in every country we're residing. And we should not attempt to return en masse as a large group of people, or try to recreate even one small, 1 inch, 1 centimeter of a Jewish sovereignty. Because it is like medicine from God to break our haughtiness. That's what we believe. So there is actually we were put under 3 oaths, and that King Solomon, who built the temple, wrote a book of prophecies called Shir HaShirim, Song of Songs, and he speaks about these 3 oaths that God put us under. One is that we should not return en masse to the Holy Land once we were dispersed amongst the nations. Secondly, we are not to rebel against any nation. We have to be loyal citizens in every country we reside. A Canadian citizen has to pray for the well-being of the country, even if you're not happy, or let's say throughout our history, Jews were many times forbidden to buy land and they were taxed to a much higher degree. Still in all, we have to be loyal citizens and not rebel against that country. Thirdly, we are not to make any attempt to end exile. Why? Because it's because of our sins we are spread out. God is compassionate. And the Almighty, when the time will come, which every Jew yearns for, that the time will eventually come, with the Almighty will make a metaphysical change in the world and all humanity will recognize one God. Then God will return us, and God himself will rebuild the temple without any human intervention. There will be a spirit like a miracle.
Seperti yang dikatakan Rabi tadi, yang mengatakan mereka orang-orang Yahudi, mereka telah membuat perjanjian dengan Tuhan 3000 tahun yang lalu di Gunung Sinai, di mana di saat itu Musa naik mengambil Taurat dari Tuhan dan mereka membuat perjanjian untuk menegakkan Taurat. Ia mengatakan gerakan ini adalah konsep menciptakan kedaulatan negara, dan mereka orang-orang Yahudi menyebutnya dengan kedaulatan Yahudi. Mereka mulai melakukan gerakan ini sekitar 150 tahun yang lalu. Mungkin itu saja. Wallahu a'lam bissawab.